This is part 2 of a set of cycle videos where I'm looking at the influence of the outer planets as they hit the period between the mid-30s to the early 50s in everybody's lives, and the concentration of these cycles into one particular time. I've already discussed Pluto and how it seems to focus between the ages of 37 and 42, 43, depending on which generation you're born, in a time of greater compression for accelerated transformation. At the same time, Neptune also is squaring itself. The difference between Pluto and Neptune is that Neptune's orbit is cyclical. It is a regular, consistent cycle, unlike Pluto's more inconsistent regular cycle. Neptune's orbit is circular. It is regular. It can be safely relied on, and it is pretty damn precise. Neptune's orbit is 168 years, give or take a few months. Therefore, it is almost exactly, on average, 14 years in each sign of the zodiac. So meaning that at age 41, 42 years old, Neptune comes back to square the position it was in at the time of one's birth. As with Pluto, for most people, this is a relatively insignificant time. But for those 5% of the people born with strong squares, conjunctions or oppositions to Neptune, 41, 42 years old is often seen as a time of either the descent into compliant illusion, with the willingness to believe what you're told and to live in the world as being the way it is presented, and continuing the first 40 years of life. It's attitudes towards perception, belief and the nature of the world you live in. Alternatively, the Neptune square at age 42 kind of removes the blinkers from your eyes. And you start to understand the difference between dealing with the world as being the way you want it to be and dealing with the world as the way it is. For some people, this is too much. And often at 42, people voluntarily choose to close down areas of perception, to continue eating the processed food and to take the antibiotics and to continue dumbing down. Others will go to not so much an extreme, but will open up and embrace a more quasi-spiritual and more openly, how can I describe it? A kind of blend between holistic spirituality, a kind of acceptance of the world as being unified. Perhaps it's best summarised by saying it is at age 42, when Neptune squares itself, that individuals come to terms with the fact that they are part of a greater whole, as much as being a separate individual. After this is where most people come up with their greatest works of art, their greatest sense of creativity, their greatest empathy and sensitivity to the world around them and the environment around them. And in many cases, people look back at age 41, 42 and go, yeah, everything before them was a kind of practice and a drill. I only really opened my eyes then. And in perhaps the long-term cycles of life, there is a case for saying that Neptune's quarterly return, its square to itself, does in a way represent a kind of halfway point for humanity, and that it could be said that the first 42 years of life are like a practice and drill for the real thing, and it's all about finding out what it is you don't want. This also coincides with Saturn, of which more in a bit. But the Neptune square at age 42 is the time of opening one's eyes, and bearing in mind that for our generations, those born in the last 50, 60, 70 years, this coincides pretty much with a Pluto square Pluto. So we are now looking at the time of 38 to 42 as being really concentrated in terms of intensity, transformation, pressure, and hopefully the changing of lead into gold. Catch you later.